What's up, everybody? My name is Connor, and this is Dodge Boys Dynasty. On this channel, I'm hoping to talk all things Dynasty fantasy football, primarily focusing on statistical analysis, player previews, hopefully in the future get to look at film and study that a little bit, but just really looking forward to talking football and having a community that likes to talk football with me. So for this first video, I wanted to look a little bit closer at Tetairoa McMillan and his first season in the NFL. Now at this point, we're only through 11 games of his rookie season, but I think there's a lot to look at and a lot to get excited about. Through the first 11 weeks, he's already shown a ton of promise. He's racking up yards. He's in the top 6 in the NFL currently, which is amazing to see from a rookie in his first season. But one of the ways I want to give you an idea of how well Tetairoa McMillan's doing right now is by comparing his first 11 games to Rome Odunze's first 11 games in his rookie season. So let's do that. When I first looked at this graphic, I saw in week 3, there was 11 targets. In week 10, 10 more targets. In week 11, 10 more. And I think what this graphic does a good job of is showing how even some of the best prospects coming to the NFL can have slower starts. And it wasn't until after the bye and in week 10 that Rome Odunze started to become what we thought he would be. 2 back-to-back games of 10 targets. He had 6 receptions and 5 receptions respectively, and was on the field for over 80% of snaps compared to a few dips in the weeks prior. Now, this graphic shows some other statistics that are helpful, including his average depth of target, his yards after the catch per reception, how many drops he had. And it's important to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and not just ignore some of those issues like drops. Now, there's nothing that's seriously concerning here for Rome. He had 6 total drops over his rookie season, but only 3 through his first 11 weeks. Over the course of the entire year, you can see that the Bears struggled. They ended the season 5-12, and they tried to get Rome Odunze involved as much as they could. They threw it to him 101 times. Unfortunately, Caleb Williams had some accuracy issues, especially in the way that they utilized Rome deep down the field. They couldn't really get that connection going. So it wasn't the most disappointing rookie season from Rome. There's still a lot to be excited about going into year 2. But if you were a fantasy football owner of Rome, there were still a bunch of question marks coming into this year. So let's compare these statistics of Rome to Tetairoa McMillan in his first 11 games this season. When I look at this graphic, I immediately notice Tetairoa McMillan is getting targeted far more than Rome did in his first season. I think it's pretty easy for me to say that T-Mac didn't have as much target competition as Rome did last year. Just having to deal with Xavier Legette, who's been a bit disappointing. Jalen Coker, who's been injured. He's fortunately back now. But other than T-Mac, there wasn't much to go to for Bryce Young in this offense. Another thing that my eyes go to in this graphic is T-Mac already has 748 total yards through 11 weeks. And that matches what Rome had over the entire course of his first season. I'll just go back real quick and show you here. Rome had 734 yards through his rookie season, and T-Mac already has 748 with 6 weeks left to play. And then on top of that, Bryce Young and this Carolina Panther offense are throwing the ball to T-Mac in the red zone. And he already has 4 touchdowns, 2 from week 6, and then 2 this last week versus Atlanta, where I was really impressed at his performance, where he had 2 touchdowns, 130 receiving yards, and 8 receptions. He was clearly separating. He was great at the catch point, reliable hands in the end zone on contested catches, and he's the kind of guy that I would want to be throwing to if I were the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Fortunately, I'm not. So next we'll look at that secondary graphic with some more advanced statistics for Tetairoa McMillan. Here in the second graphic, there's not too much to really look at other than the fact that Bryce Young really isn't pushing the ball down the field a ton with an average depth of target of 10.9 yards. His yards after the catch per reception isn't anything spectacular either. Now, coming out of college, that was one of the question marks for him, was what would he be able to do after he had the ball in his hands. But this last week, particularly in one catch he had versus the Falcons, he took the ball 20 plus yards after the catch and showed off his speed and athleticism. I think the most helpful graphic in this whole breakdown is going to be the next one, where we can here compare the things that they really have in common and the things that they differ in already in their first 11 games of their rookie seasons. So Tetairoa McMillan and Rome Odunze were both picked in the top 10 picks of their NFL drafts. They also have very similar physical traits. T-Mac stands at 6'4", 219 pounds, and ran a 4.48 40-yard dash, whereas Rome Odunze stands at 6'3", 214 pounds, and ran a 4.45. So nearly identical in their physical traits, nearly identical in their draft capital. But here we can really see that it's in their rookie stats through their first 11 games where they differ. T-Mac has had 19 more targets, 15 more receptions, and this is great to see from any rookie. Doing this in the first half of the season only makes you more excited for what he's going to do in the second half of the season. And if there's any chance that the Panthers squeak into the playoffs, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does, to see what T-Mac is doing and how they utilize him against teams when it really matters, it's going to be fun to watch. So if you liked Rome Odunze as a top-tier rookie the moment he stepped onto an NFL field, and you should, then Tetairoa McMillan deserves the exact same level of excitement. He's producing more, he's more efficient per target, he has nearly the same athletic profile, and Tetairoa is showing every sign of being the next dominant young wide receiver in the league. I'm super excited to see what T-Mac does the remainder of the season and how his career pans out. And it's been my effort recently to get him on every single one of my Dynasty teams. Unfortunately, some managers are holding tight and see exactly what I see in T-Mac, but if you can, I encourage you to go pay value or maybe even an overpay for Tetairoa McMillan right now, while the price is still lower than I think it will be in the future. Thanks for tuning in to my first video. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please do feel free to like and subscribe, and leave your comment down below on your thoughts on T-Mac as a player and a prospect in the NFL. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.